Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition to Bulls versus Bears. See, gents, we're, JT, you got us some seats this week. We're in the podcast. We can sit down now.
We can cozy up and actually, really focus on the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a cup of tea as well.
You forgot the six-pack of beer, though, unfortunately. But gentlemen, obviously general advice only. This is opinion and thoughts. It's not officially a financial advice. Please consult a professional before making any decisions. So, JT, big week for you in the media this week. You were on Small Caps, Big Ideas.
That's right.
Which is, I think, AusBiz's biggest event for the year, really. So run us through... there you are.
Oh, yeah.
So is that
got
the 10-bagger?
That's the 10-bagger. So the thing is, Findy was a 10-bagger from a year ago. So it's rallied from 50 cents to, I think it's at $6. It's over $6 at the moment. So it's had a big run.
Yeah.
And the main question I keep getting asked is, does it have more to go? And
the chart's pretty hyperbolic. Like it's
exactly
like way.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's roughly about a 300 mil market cap at the moment, and just with the compound annual growth that they're projecting for the next 2 years, it should double from that. And then you have a re-rate from, so all of the companies that are listed in India are traded at a higher multiple. Like the lowest multiple there, something comparable is around 15 times. Findy's currently trading around 7 times. So you got compound annual growth and then a re-rate. So I think it hits maybe $1 billion market cap in a couple of years. And the key is that they're going to have a listing on the Indian exchange. So obviously the founders have to sell part of their shares into that IPO.
Yeah.
So everything's in place for them to have a big exit in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
So that's why. So if
they've been motivated.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got a lot of skin in the game. Plus, just having a little chat to the CEO, they're working on a lot of M&A deals. So I think they'll come out with a few announcements that will please the markets with, some extra more ATM, some more revenue. I mean, like the way he talked about one of the past deals, he said basically, oh, that's actually a small deal now. Like, he talked about maybe an extra few thousand ATMs. Wow. He goes, we're working on deals like that, but that's actually a small end of the deal.
I wonder how big cash is still in India, right? I suspect it'd be huge.
It's huge. So that's the other thing is that I like it because of the whole global macro India play. So India's got the best demographics. They will have a growing workforce population till 2050.
Wow.
So while the rest of the world is shrinking, theirs will be growing. The use of cash is growing at 15% annually.
It's growing again.
It's still growing.
It's the opposite to everywhere else.
Exactly. So over there, and this is the stat that blew me away, is that only 5% of the population gets taxed at the moment. So as India grows from like a proper third world country to the next stage, obviously that number will increase, but there's a huge mistrust in their culture of the governments. So anytime they get paid, they take it out in cash and stuff it under the mattress.
Buy a property in Sydney.
Yeah.
They are the largest demographic buying properties in Australia. They smoke the Chinese.
Yeah.
It's like 3 times more Indians buy property in Australia than the Chinese.
Wow.
Yeah. It's always the real estate agents always going, those foreign Chinese buyers. It's not them, apparently. There's stats in the AFR this week. So young Indian Australians buy more property than any demographic, including Australians.
Well, there you go.
The bank of mum and dad, or the bank at the mattress, by the sounds of things. But yeah, and
the thing is, so just having a think about that is that there's no actual restrictions on cash coming in from India over here, whereas in China, you try and get some cash out of China, they're like, no.
And they use those, what are those things called, the cash transfers, where the receipts at each end, it's like unofficial banking. They're, there's a term for it, I can't remember what it is, I'll find it out one day. But obviously as well, we sent out an email to everyone, it'll be on the bottom of the email today.
Right. So that was our public pick. we actually have another bonus pick. So if you would have received that email today, sign up and we'll send you our next 10 bagger.
The secret.
Yeah.
The secret.
It's a secret one. You have to
Yeah, the
subscribe.
secret one. Yeah. Geez, we're good at marketing. Oh, geez. Oh God. It's, thank God you're here, David. Otherwise, we'd never sell a thing. Yeah, look, and just generally, I mean, I had the call this week as well. Possibly the most sells I've ever given out of 11 stocks. I think.
What was the actual number?
As in how many?
How many sellers?
I think it was 9 out of 11. I had not a single buy, and I think I had about 3 or 4 holds or something. It wasn't the best list, but yeah, Perpetual and which I described as the Nokia 3310 of funds management, or just about the Telegram machine, and which just got a little bit of a
AMP would be that Telegram machine.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be the stone and chisel. Shane Oliver's first reports were actually on on tablets. He's been calling for rate cuts for 1,000 years.
That's it.
But yeah, and I think the other one which I absolutely hated was Lend-Lease. So and basically, you know, I had a bit of a rush day, so I was probably a little bit more blunt than usual. And I just joked, for Perpetual, I jokingly said, if you just sold this crappy business a year ago and put it into GQG, you'd have your money back by now. And then I think for Lend-Lease, I said, just get off the prayer mat, sell it and buy something decent. And I made the same comparison with Goodman Group. So it's just every now and then everyone goes, oh, well, you know, I really want to get my money back. So the market the market is an inanimate object.
That's it.
It doesn't know, it doesn't care where you got in and where you got out. If it's a bad, like, you've got to always think about it in terms of, if I had fresh money today, would I buy this stock? If the answer is no, get out of it.
That's it.
Like, it's like, you know, the prayer mat is, or if you use the word hope in any investment thesis, unless it's new hope or like, just, it's never a good idea. But anyway, Tesla had its biggest rally in a decade last night, 22%.
That chart looks like it's ready to bust out as well. To bust out and head to multi-year highs now.
Yeah, their gross margin was the thing that everyone was impressed about. So they're expecting 14, they got like 18, and they reckon they're going to get back to 20. They're projecting 20 to 30% sales growth. I don't think it hurts that, you know, Trump's announced that, you know, he's only going to, we won't tax domestically made vehicles, and he's
no. So any car payments on domestic vehicles are tax deductible.
That's right.
Deductible.
Yeah, and he's been hanging out with Elon Musk this week. And who makes the most amount of vehicles in America?
Well, we looked at that, the top 10.
Yeah.
Out of the top 10 American-made vehicles, 4 were Teslas.
Yeah. So let's. There's some certain advantages, I suppose, to hanging out with a reckless Oompa Loompa. But look, Tesla shareholders will be pretty happy because it's this, because of Elon. It's the stock that everyone loves to hate. But the bottom line is, you take him out of it. You know what? It's a super innovative company. Like, I couldn't believe people were critical of that launch. That self-driving taxi, the self-driving. I mean, the bigger van.
Well, the thing is, you're a fan as well. You've used the Tesla. You compared it to other EVs, and you're like,
the Tesla. Like, when Kai was in the BM, we rent them for work sometimes. The Beamer was like, I reckon astronauts have got less complicated dashboards than this thing, and nothing bloody worked. But the Tesla is just the easiest. I've driven just about every single EV, just renting them for work and things like that, and it's just easy. It's just really easy. Like, and we've got the robots, and he's doing some innovative things. He's not going to get it right all the time. But
don't forget SpaceX. Like,
catching rockets with chopsticks, right?
Yeah. You see, I bet he was watching Karate Kid, the Mr. Miyagi, catching the fly with the chopsticks. That's where that idea came from, I guarantee it. But yeah, look, he gets a hard time because he's so vocal. But yeah, you take the founder out, I mean, at least he hasn't been harassing employees publicly like WiseTech, or tax avoiding like MinRes.
Yeah.
So which is a beautiful segue to our next bit, which is WiseTech. So we got onto this early last week. Got everyone out around 1:28.
Can we all give Mark a round of applause for catching that one early? So I'll just have to preface this is that Mark has been bearish WiseTech for a long time.
No, I just haven't bought it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like every time it rises, like as a momentum, like it's going up, But you sniffed out this one quite early. But the thing was, you were actually quite decisive and helped our clients out really well.
Yep, it was like catching a sexual harassment with chopsticks. But look, he's resigned, which is just complete horseshit. And I'm sorry about the swearing, but it just is. So he's now a consultant CEO
On the same
salary.
same salary,
Really, yeah.
same terms, 10-year contract. So he hasn't resigned at all.
That's right.
But,
And what's it called? CEO still in his title. Though.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah.
Consultant CEO.
So really, the AFR will be mildly disappointed this something. But the stock opened up stupidly at 122 this morning.
Yeah.
If we had a house account, we'd be short to the eyeballs, but it's back at 111 already now. I was going to buy some back on the open that we'd sold last week today, and I went 122, not a chance. And we just started scaling in down here, just below around the 112.
Well, don't forget though, it is a solid business. Obviously, it's founder led.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I remember some of the numbers that they beat by to make that jump. I was like, whoa, that's some seriously impressive numbers there. So
the big threat was the ESG investing, because a lot of big super funds own this stock.
yeah,
And so basically they've done the bare minimum to keep those funds on board, basically. And I dare say behind closed doors, and I'm speculating here, I reckon they've probably gone to them and gone, what's the minimum we have to do? Because everyone, as an investor, if you want to take the personal side out of it, the Italians didn't give a crap when Berlusconi was having bunga bunga parties. Like, some people just don't care.
Yeah.
But they would have gone to their
what's the someone has to fall in this order. We have to show face.
He feels sword adjacent. He didn't fall on his sword. But I mean, this whole it's made the AFR a gossip column this week.
That's true.
Which has kind of been good, I suppose, for Chris Ellison, who's like.
Yes.
Where you would have been in the spotlight.
Oh, mate! So the two darling CEO founders, but he's in trouble. I would have thought he's the British Virgin Islands alleged. Sorry for the legal teams out there. Alleged buying machinery in the British Virgin Islands and then selling it at a very large
the article that I saw, they actually had a bank statement with some actual the specific machinery that was sold at low prices, and there's quite a decent haircut there. So
yeah, then for a decade.
Yeah, truck for $20.
No, it's more like there was a D6, which is a huge dozer.
D6 is enormous.
Yeah, it's one of the ones with the big the
bigger ones. But I think the market value was like 500.
Yeah.
He got it for 50.
Wow.
Okay, so that I think that was the biggest one.
Yeah, 50, and then resold it to MinRes for 500. So, in a tax effective jurisdiction. So, but obviously. I mean, the AFR wouldn't have known what to do. Two founders going down, they would have liked for their readership, they would have liked to have spaced that out. Over
exactly. Well, let's spread this clickbait out.
Yeah. But another one which we saw on Ausbiz just earlier today, it was one of the CEOs of ResMed, but opposite end of the scale. We commented that he was super enthusiastic about the business, clearly knew the product. Knew whether he was so on top of it. I was so impressed.
Yeah.
We bought for very few clients who really quite liked it. It wasn't an official recommendation for us, but popped 8% this morning.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably, Eli Lilly reports, I think Wednesday next week. So, you know, you probably want to be out by Tuesday because they'll have a sleep apnea drug out, and then we'll get that trade's been more reliable than the Postman. The old Postman, not Australia Post these days. But you know, their gross margin surged. Like they're making nearly 60% gross margin. So yeah, we're like, it's just such a great business, and he's starting to justify that case now for it's the drugs are actually making, because it's a fairly new condition to be diagnosed and treated.
Yeah.
Like not many people really knew about it. That it's like wives are just whinging about their husbands who snore, and then they didn't realise it was not their fault, because everything's usually the husband's fault, I believe. But yeah, it's actually raising awareness of the condition. So they actually are selling more machines. Which last year, when it was at $22, which we did buy at official recommendation then, everyone was going, "Oh, you're full of crap! Like, you know, it's not going to do that." And you know, so it. But they're three fairly big companies this week that have. Newmont as well. We probably could have squeezed Newmont in there, which is gold, which had a pretty poor quarterly update, and we
and the market torched it as well.
And the market, yeah.
So I think it was down 5 yesterday, or down 10 overnight in the US, and it was down 8% today. So yeah.
It was down 14 at one stage today. Here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
it bounced back a little bit, but it got super hairy at one stage.
But so let's let the dust settle on that. But it's gold. It's the biggest producer. We have to get back on board soon.
Well, yeah, we actually sold out of it to go to Northern Star. Northern Star's outperformed by 20-odd%. Well, not including today, it was 10%. So it could be Northern Star's up again today. So we'd probably do the old switcheroo back, Kai. You're the relative value man. We'll have to dust off the old spreadsheet, eh?
Might have to take West Gold out or something like that.
Yeah, small one. You're the numbers guy. But yeah, so US earnings, obviously we've spoken about Tesla. Dave, you're on top of that. What's going on?
A couple of the big companies obviously reported this week. So you guys mentioned Tesla before, up 22%, biggest rally in 10 years. One of the big stories was McDonald's this week. They're in a bit of trouble. Basically, there's been an E. coli outbreak that sort of smashed through the quarter pounder burgers. I did a little bit of looking into it. It's the reason for it.
So does that mean you bought some quarter pounders? Or?
No, it means I lost some quarter pounder on it for sure. But basically, they had 10 hospitalised. One person actually died from it in the US, and so they're starting to get lawsuits going through. And the cause of it is the onions out of a California-based produce facility. So they've actually been able to track where it's from. But so that's obviously been in the news at the moment. So
yeah, they lost like 10% in the aftermarket, but their earnings are this week coming up. So we got General Motors was another one that I think it sort of rose a little bit, 10%. It used to be like pretty important in the Dow.
There you go. So it looks like McDonald's comes out on Tuesday night.
So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on after all of this. But yeah, another busy week for reporting in the US next week. Obviously this week was busy, but once again, Wednesday and Thursday, there's a bunch of the bigger companies reporting. You know, you've got Microsoft and Meta. Thursday, you've got Amazon and Apple. You got Alphabet or Google on Tuesday that's coming out. So there's still a lot of the bigger companies.
There you go. That's five of the Mag 7 right there.
So that'll be like 35% of the market cap of the S&P 500. But also some pretty important sort of bellwether of the economy ones like Caterpillar, Pfizer, Eli Lilly. Like there's some, and then the oil companies at the end of the week. So there's a little bit of data towards the end of the week. Payrolls is next Friday, so you probably...
Have they revised any more lower? It always seems to be the way, isn't it?
I dare say... I didn't realise that it was going to be the 1st of November, so I don't think it's going to be too out of whack. I wouldn't have thought if Kamala's behind in the polls. Although maybe it comes home to roost, who knows? But and then there's some manufacturing stuff towards the end of the week as well. Aussie CPI Wednesday, but that'll just be more paid.
Yeah, and then the US election will be the 5th, isn't it? Like the Tuesday.
Fourth, it's the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the week after. So this circus is almost done.
Yeah, they're saying, they're saying it's neck and neck, but that's you know.
No, Trump's firmed. I think last I saw $1.50.
Yeah.
No, but it just depends on which news agency you're listening to.
Betfair. I always look at the Betfair.
No. But I'm saying, but the people who are saying it's neck and neck.
Oh, okay.
And the early postal votes are always traditionally Democrats, or a high percentage of Democrats. So, whereas Republicans, you know, they tend to vote on the day, I suppose. I don't know really what the demographic is specifically over there, but yeah. And then the BRICS summit sort of ended with a whimper rather than a bang. And
yeah, I saw someone gave Putin a $100 brick note or something like that.
Oh, really?
They call it the unit or something like that.
Yeah,
I was like, you're gonna have to come up with something better than that. But basically, you had bricks on it, like $100, whatever. It was just like a little gesture at the end.
Wow.
But but there were some big meetings there. I mean, like Modi and Xi, Putin and Modi. You know, they all were just hanging around.
Butting up. Was she there?
There was a few Saudi or Middle East like chiefs and things.
Kim Jong Un. Oh, what's his? Kim Jong?
Kim Jong Un. No, he's fighting on the Ukraine front with his soldiers. I think they sent 3,000 troops or something to Russia. I don't know whether they were sending them to jail or.
So the funny thing about that though is that North Korea are sending troops. In retaliation, South Korea is sending some tech and actual weapons over to Ukraine as well.
Another Cold War, but a different way.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like, don't worry about this border, we'll bring it over there. They're just like,
save some lives and have like a K-pop band dance off or something. It's really like So Putin welcomed Trump's comments on ending the Ukraine war. You know, it's of course he's welcoming it as long as he wins. I think he's been really open to the ending of the Ukraine war for ages, as long as it becomes part of Russia.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then obviously one of the funnier, kind of funny stories this week. Trump's had to deny saying that Hitler did good things and that he could do with a couple of Hitler's generals. Which no one at first actually even blinked, because it's like, yeah, that's our Trump. But he actually came out and said, no, I didn't say that. So Kamala's actually gotten into a little bit of trouble for
repeating that.
Well, no, not for repeating it, but
claiming on a paraphrase or something like that.
For doing a Trump on Trump, basically. And so but thank God this thing's over in a week and a half. Like, seriously, it is just aggravating. So,
yep.
And it needs to end.
That's true. And,
You did go with
commodities
your
and FX. So, gold, new highs again. It just doesn't...
Keeps going.
Silver finally broke out. So, I was saying last week, it needs to get above that 33, and it's just smashed through that.
And I did raise that on Ausbiz, and even though Nadine wasn't there, I've been copping absolute crack for preferring silver over gold. So I locked in my chart and took it over there and said, look, silver's better. And then we did switch to we got on your palladium bandwagon.
That's right. So I mentioned palladium about 2 weeks ago because the chart was just doing well. I was like, I'll mention that. And here we go. That broke out as well. So so that's pros and cons. That's new highs. Copper extremely quiet. Same with iron ore, extremely quiet. I think we've had the China stimulus. Obviously, it's bounced. It's fallen back a little bit, and the market's trying to decide which way that stimulus train runs to. Uranium slowly but surely just keeps rising. Kind of made new highs early this week, then pulled back. Crude oil, that's been really quiet this week. It's just hovered between 70 and...
Everyone's at BRICS.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's going on. Actually, now think about it. The Chinese are there, the Saudis are there, everyone there.
Yeah, all the commodities are there. But no, I think that crude oil, that's an easier one. I think just as long as there's no Middle East tensions, I think that tests that $66 level. So...
so it's lower.
Sorry,
I think it heads lower.
Yeah, right.
Like, as in... When you say Middle East tensions, like...
I'm talking actual, we need something,
Something new.
Yeah, exactly.
Something new. Yeah, I don't know. They've pretty much covered most bases over there recently.
Yeah, like Israel's gone and like got generals and
They already did that with
Hamas. Yeah, but I'm just saying, unless there's something like that,
Yeah.
it has because that's how Middle East works. Is like, it just keeps escalating. There's just more and more. But unless there's like more shock and awe, then everyone's like, oh, it's Middle East. So
Is there anyone left to take out? Like, I mean,
there's plenty there. I just don't know who the leaders are.
No, not the people, like the leaders. Like, I mean, they took out like about 4 Hezbollah generals, or
But like if you go off all the spy movies, don't they have like all these sleeper cells and everything's like decentralized type of thing? Like that's how blockchain started, isn't it? You got basically all these nodes.
Just do yourself a favour. Watch the old man on Disney Plus with it's not Jeff Daniels, the fellow who played the big
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, which I thought it starts very slow, but it's actually a really good insight into a dramatised version of how basically US or Russian companies or organisations or government organisations come in and fight. That's what the real fighting's about in Afghanistan, is usually mining or a pipeline pathway.
Yeah, there's either some oil there or some resource at the end.
Oh yeah, this whole thing, it's like, I clicked onto it and I thought, oh, this is starting pretty slow. And the whole thing's about like the richest rare earths and lithium mine in the world. And I'm like, oh, it's been a really good quality show actually.
What's the name of the show again?
It's called The Old Man.
The Old Man.
So
Okay.
I always struggle a little bit because I love The Big Lebowski, watching Jeff Bridges in serious stuff, because I think he's just going to crank out, oh, don't piss on the rug, man, or
That's
something
it.
like that. But
just one last mention. So Bitcoin, Ethereum not doing too well, but Solana.
Oh yes, I was looking at Solana this
The
morning.
Solana chart looks like it's about to take off.
Yeah, it's well, basically, do you reckon Solana has a chance of taking over Ethereum at some point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the main problem with all of this crypto and Bitcoin and all that is that it's all technology. So when I first dove into the whole thing, it's like, well, that's the best technology for now. What if a better blockchain comes along? And I think that's what's happening at the moment. Is like Solana is just the flavour of the month, so it could rise. So
that could be bad for crypto for them, like, because if they but it needs to be, if they're going to have, they need their flag bearer to be, the store of value is where they're going to get the most amount of investment.
Yeah, so that's
in the long term.
that's Bitcoin, and it's got that. But so the whole point of Ethereum is that it's you can actually do some practical uses of it, not just store of value.
Yeah.
But Solana's starting to take some of its heat away, and I'm just going off the token price, and it looks good.
Because you go onto the chain, right, Ethereum chain, and basically the cost of transaction, the gas fee,
it's huge.
Oh my god, it's crazy. You can't actually move the currency because you're paying away so much in gas fees.
Exactly. Well, I was there at the peak. So during the NFT season, like people were paying $500, $600
Wow.
US dollars just to transact to get an NFT.
Wow.
It's insane. Like it's calmed down now.
Yeah.
Like you can get transactions away for $50, $60 and things like that. But it's still enormous when it peaks out. But Solana's got a different solution. It's not as decentralized, which is a lot of the crypto bros will criticize it. But either way, the token price is heading high, and I'm just, as a trader or as a
But if you want that fresh money, you need to be.
well, the thing is, like there were rumors of a Solana ETF coming out as well. So that's
now that Bitcoin's broken the dam, there'll be an ETF on them all.
well, don't forget it's finance. So
Yeah.
if there's money in it, and
There's money, and they can take a management fee. By God, they'll do it.
Exactly.
So, so we're really. I'm a little bit behind on the slides here. Sorry, but. Engaging conversation, but obviously the trade of the week. Well, it's very rare that we can do this, but
Familiar?
we said sell WiseTech last week. Bite back, basically, about 20% lower. So our general strategy is going to be for to just dollar average over the next couple of weeks. Yeah. I don't think I could open that 122. It's been coming off all day. I don't know where it is now, but. It's certainly, it's around that 112, 111 area. But if you missed the first sell, you would have been happily on the offer at 122. I thought this morning.
Yeah.
But I reckon just a smart play. And then in terms of the other founder disaster, Minres, I would say that now that the WiseTech thing's resolved, the gun might be turned towards him. Because I think the ATO or the ASIC's looking into what they've been doing. So. Which will mean that...
Unfortunately, I think that one you can't sweep under the rug.
or just step to the side.
Maybe you can leave the country?
Yeah,
So that's trying to work.
You can't buy ATO a $7 million mansion.
That's right.
And keep quiet.
They can repossess a $7 million mansion. So last week that was the founder scandal, and this week it's phew, it missed me. So these. I think this thing will be. I think it's probably taken the wind out of its sails for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was upgraded this morning by Citigroup. It was still only $120 price target. It was already overvalued, which is why we were so edgy. I'm bearish when it's a PE above 150 because that's when it has these massive pullbacks.
Mm-hmm. And you said the average pullback was 47%.
47%, yeah.
There you go.
Technology One was the one that I got shit on in Twitter was because we did a study of when ResMed and CSL got smoked that what other market darlings could be vulnerable, and Technology One had 95% market share in Australia, and was they can't be trading 150 PE if there's only 5% left in the market. And then obviously, there was a lot riding on that UK expansion. And then I just get reminded of how I said once 18 months ago that it could potentially be vulnerable to the downside. But we've been running this position with our risk management plan for a few clients since March, April. So, and it worked out quite well. So we shall sort of continue, but. And this will be. I won't be here next week, and then the following week, my beard and my hair won't be here either next week. The following week is I have been strong-armed into shaving my head and my beard for charity.
While we're here, why don't we give a plug? What's the actual? When's the date of the shave? Or
November the 1st, next Friday. So I'm on the last call next Friday. For an unveiling of the...
Are you getting shaved on the...
No, not on the show, beforehand. No, I'm not... But my wife is a cancer rehab specialist. She's got people from 3 of the charities coming up to do a segment, which,
So how does it work? So you actually shave at home and...
No, one of the ladies who's involved actually has a hair salon, and my stepson's coming over, he's doing it as well. So, and then it goes to... It's more cancer survivors. So my wife's lymphedema therapist. She really the survivor rates tripled, which is fantastic. But there's no support or infrastructure around cancer survivors because everyone goes, you're in remission, job done. And then there's all these things there is triple the divorce rate. There is there's a lot of image problems for women, particularly with breast cancer and mastectomies and things like that. And then obviously losing their hair. And so one of the charities is called Look Good, Feel Better. It's an international charity. And they basically show you, it's a whole thing about tips and tricks on how to, get back how to put a wig on. I don't really know specifically. My wife's
You might want to take that course after the shave.
Well, apparently they are bringing along a few of them to try out on me for the social media. So it's pretty much going to be a day of it me being had the piss taken out of. But
is there anywhere the listeners can donate if they want as well?
So it's on mycause.org.au, and it's called Survive and Thrive. But we've got a QR code. That you can just look on our social media. We've got social tiles. But the prostate cancer leading into November, there is a chance that if I don't look like too much like a sex offender, that I may.
Should we do November?
I think we should do November.
Try and do November.
I think you should do November. So
start growing it now.
Look at you two smiling over there.
No, I can grow a shadow. That's bad.
A bit of sand.
But there is talk that they want to leave the mustache on, and I'm like, well, if I'm allowed within 400 metres of my kid's school to pick them up, I'll do it. But other than that, I'd probably not. So, but yeah, it's a really good cause, and we've already up to a couple of $1,000 actually raised.
Nice.
So, and we really haven't been promoting it that much. So, thank you to everyone who has donated. Yeah, but I think that pretty much wraps it up for this week. It's a little bit shorter than last week.
The fear and greed index.
Oh, yeah, I think it's dropped a little bit. We're at the 63 mark.
Oh, still quite greedy though.
Just
still,
agreed,
still a
not
little bit
extreme.
greedy. Maybe
makes sense.
they had a quarter pounder.
That's right.
The greed backed off.
What are your thoughts for next week? I remember I was kind of neutral, and I think most of it we were like, oh, it's not really going to go anywhere, and that's kind of what happened this week. So
Same again, I think, just before the election.
yeah, that's a good point. So unless one of these
that's true.
one of these big guys really knocks it out of the park, and another one rallies with it, I think we'll be maybe trading sideways and in a sort of like a holding pattern waiting for the election.
I think so too.
I am going to go out on a limb and call absolute just smashing. I reckon the AI, the non-monetisation of AI is going to come home to roost, and it's going to absolutely screw actually Meta will be the only one that doesn't, because they're not really, and they've invested in AI particularly. But I reckon Microsoft, Amazon, Google are going to heavily disappoint. Apple is shipping bugger all of those new iPhones. I think that could get created massive. And then I think payrolls is just going to put a little bit of icing on top and be close to down, and then to seal and then the election will be sealed by Trump. So I'm going to go with one of the worst weeks of the year next week.
I'm going to throw a curveball in there. What about WiseTech? Where's it going next week for WiseTech?
Ooh, that's interesting. I reckon it.
I think it tests 100 again.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
That opening print at 121. Oh man!
If we could short,
that was such an easy one. Please sell.
Short of it being wrapped in a bow,
Yeah.
that was so unbelievably easy money. Whoever bought that, you're an idiot. So someone is definitely getting fired for that crap this morning. That was just to have that much of that much on the bid at one. It was 140. They had. What if someone cancelled all the offers? I could have opened up 35% on that sort of volume. I mean, who puts that? Anyway, it's not our problem, that's for sure. I'm just really, really upset that we couldn't get short. But yeah,
soon.
Soon, yes, indeed.
Yes.
And I think Cromer of the Week goes to all of those. Everyone basically at the end of last week that said that WiseTech can't fall, and you've just got to be buying the dip, which you possibly got out of jail for 1 second this morning, but it was when I wrote that article last week. There was a few comments of how ridiculous I was being, it's good to dish out a little bit of comeuppance every now and then. I tend to agree on that. And then, God knows what's going to happen with MinRes. Because that's getting smashed again today. It's like back at the all-time lows or something, I think. Not all-time lows. Recent lows is back in the low 30s. So it's got to be a buy somewhere. What's its price to net tangible assets? We might have to start rating it as a.
Well, I think that the main problem with MinRes was like they're on the way down. They were just actually looking at how much leverage was on board.
Yeah.
So obviously with leverage comes actual volatility. So I think
there could be a positive. Maybe if they start getting the tractors in at the price that they actually pay.
That's what exactly right.
There could be millions in cost savings.
I was like, I'm wondering why they're borrowing so much money. It all makes sense now.
that's it.
I tell you what, he's a genius if he actually sells that plan as a cost-cutting thing. The market will believe anything these days. But gentlemen, as always, been a pleasure. And
and thanks for listening and watching.
And and do yourself a favour, go and watch that. Go to the Ausbiz website or open our email. Watch the Findy thing. Get your bonus buy. They're pretty damn good. I don't normally look at the small caps. I was super when you said Findy. I'm like, what? And because I generally look at it more the macro side, but it's been really interesting seeing those recommendations come through. And when our new members dashboard is up and running in the next few weeks, we'll have our small caps list and growth list, mining list, and we forgot JTrader.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
The first post is up, so I'll just be for my research. I chew through a lot of podcasts, a lot of vodcasts. And what I'll plan to do is actually just summarise them and have a tradable idea from each one.
So then we're going to release that every week. So JT's always got a lot of really good ideas in the room, and I'm like, man, we've got to tell people this stuff. So we're rolling that out in starting Monday, pretty much. But it's get on the website. But it's been a pleasure, boys, and we will. Well, I won't re-adjourn next week, but you'll.
We'll manage.
Do you think? Anyway, we'll see how we go. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.